Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pratik Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Janardhan Prabhu, you made it. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Oh, Jiva Pavana Prabhu already has Mangalacharan posted. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, the auspicious invocation. If we think about that term, invocation, it means to invoke. What are we invoking? We're invoking people, persons with relationship to Krishna. We're invoking them. That means we're calling for their presence, we're calling for their grace, we're calling for their mercy. So when we say Mangalacharana, it means auspicious invocation. But there's so much more in there. It's really a supplication that I'm calling out to all of you, all of those divine personalities, for their mercy, for their grace, so that we can enter into this sacred space. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, the auspicious invocation, calling out to our Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, all of our gurus in Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga and Guru Parampara, Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all of their associates, going all the way back to the original Guru, who is Krishna himself, and his Guru of Prem, Srimati Radhika. Radhika Premera Guru Ami Shishya Nata. And that is page 1 in this book. If you do not have the book, then you have Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Thank you for posting. Oh, Janardhan, you missed 2 days. It was like 10 days rolled into 2. And Sudevi spoke. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Palakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamshcha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Shajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahavana Lalita Shri Vishakhambitamshta Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audaryamadurya Guraishcha Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Nārayaṇam Tvam Shirasham Namami Dinandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Jutai Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaurapresthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragya Keshava Iti Namine Atimartya Charitraya Svashmitananchapaline Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabharati Devi Danitaya Kripabhyaye Krishna Sambandha Vignana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinaparine Rupanam Vimudhapo Siddhanta Dhantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairanyamurtaye Vipranam Harasambodhi Padam Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajanapriyam Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannāthāya Namaha Manchākalpatarubhyascha Kripāsindhubhya cha Patitānaṁ Pāvanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahāvadanyāya Krishna Premam Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namte Gauratvishe Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinavadho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tutta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayatam Surato Mango Mama Mandam Matergati Matsarvasvam Padam Boja Radha Madanamo Haro Divyan Vrindaranya Kalpadumado Śrīmad Ratnāgāra Sinhāsanastho Shri Shri Radha Shri Govinda Dev Preshthādini Senyamānusmarāmi Śrīmad Sarasārambhi Vaṅśhivata Tatastitah Karsham Menu Svanai Gopi Gopinatha Shri Stunah Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyayai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pradene Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhaktashaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Chaito Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahādāmakni Nirvapanam Shreya Kailava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatam Jivanam Anandam Nivardhanam Pratipadam Purnaprita Shvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nama Harer Nama Harer Nameva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiram Yata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. For those of you who haven't heard before, if you were following along, when we came to the pranam mantra of our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Gosvāmī Mahārāja, there we said, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Preshtaya Bhutale. I believe in the songbook, in this bhajan book, it says Acharya Singharupine. If I'm not mistaken, let me just check. So in this version of the songbook, on the very bottom, there's a footnote, and it says you can also say Gaura Preshtaya Bhutale. So that was written by our Gurudev's senior godbrother, Srila Bhaktivedānta, Trivikrama Mahārāja. Early on, maybe 1998 or 99, at Rup Sanatan Gauriyamat, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja was there with us when we were doing Mangalacharan. And we said, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Acharya Singharupine Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Iti Namine. Afterwards, Srila Gurudev said, it is true that my Gurudev was so powerful, like a lion. But much more than that, much more, he said, he's very near and dear to Gauranga. So I like Gaura Preshtaya Bhutale. So from that moment, we always did as our Gurudev liked, Gaura Preshtaya Bhutale. That does not discount that he's also a lion like Acharya, but more than being a lion like Acharya, he's dear, near and dear to Gauranga. Gaura can also mean Go meaning Govinda and Ra meaning Radhika. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. So these kinds of refinements are essential for us, and beautiful and powerful. Because without a small statement like that, we might think that his greatest glory is that he's like a lion like Acharya. Our Gurudev very emphatically declared what our Srila Prabhupada's greatest glory is. He said there's so many glories in terms of what he is doing in his preaching. And I guess in the same way, and I'm using the words I guess, when we talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's reasons, or Krishna's reasons for descending in this world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has three primary reasons. And those primary reasons have to do with himself. What is his own desire. And the external reasons have to do with incidental, or the byproduct or side effect. So his own desire, his own internal reasons, actually there's two. There's three primary. First, of the primary, there's the primary, and primary secondary. And then there's the secondary primary and secondary secondary. if you can figure that out. So the first three, Śrī Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrishavaneva Ashwadyo Yena Bhutam Dhurima Kidrishavamadiya Sokyam Chasya Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobhat Tadbhavadyam Samajani Shachigarva Sindo Harindo. This is one of the main teachings of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, that we should understand why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world. His primary internal reasons and his secondary reasons as well. And we should not confuse the two. So he actually endeavored and expended a lot of energy and time to impress these within us. So these first three, Śrī Radhaya Pranaya Mahima, how great is her love. Ashwadya Yena Adbhuta Madhurima Kidrisho Va Madhya. What does she taste upon experiencing the wonderfulness of my sweetness? Because Krishna's wondering that. Of course, because he is the supreme, transcendental, pure, rightful ego. As Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would call him, the supreme autocrat. What is it about my sweetness that she is tasting? What is so wonderful about my sweetness? Bhamadiya, madhya. Sokyam chasamar anubhavata. And the happiness that she experiences upon loving me. Three main reasons. The second primary reason was the call of Advaita Acharya. Why is that second primary? Because Advaita is Mahavishnu avatar, which is in essence, in tattva, not different from Krishna. So it's his own internal purpose. He, in essence, is calling himself to do something. So those are the primary. Secondary, Prem Ras Niryash Korite Ashvadan, that's the primary. Rag Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharam. To preach in this world Raga Marga Bhakti, to awaken Krishna Prem, Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. And the second one, to establish the Yuga Dharma, which is the duty of every avatar who comes. When they appear, then they establish the Yuga Dharma. And the Yuga Dharma for this age, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranyata. It is Harinam. In every other Kali Yuga, there is also a Yuga avatar who is establishing the Yuga Dharma. This one is special because it just so happens to be the combined form of Radha and Krishna, who comes only once every 8,640,000,000 of our years. And he has imbued that with Braja Prem. So this is the external. And so when our Srila Gurudev would glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would glorify him according to his reasons and then the incidental reasons. When he would glorify our Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada, he would also glorify him according to his reasons and his incidental. So he was explaining what is his primary glory versus his external glories. The external glories are also glories, and they're not to be discounted by any means. They are amazing. But his primary glory is that he is a true Rupanuga, serving the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna under the guidance of Sri Rupa in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. That is his truest, highest glory. And then from that, of course, when Gurudev was it was 1996, he went to 26 2nd Avenue, the first temple that Srila Prabhupada opened up in New York. And there he was weeping, remembering Srila Prabhupada and seeing what he had done. He couldn't even speak, he was choked up and tears were flowing from his eyes. You can see the video. And he was speaking about what he did and what he came to give. And then Gurudev said something quite amazing. He said, I think that Srimati Radhika gave some jewels to her maidservant, Nayana Mani Manjari, that is our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and told her, you give these to your maidservant to distribute all over the world. You give these to your maidservant. Gurudev says those words right there. And he was weeping and crying as he was telling that. So, the primary is service to Srimati Radhika, and then that manifests in so many different ways. Another thing Srila Gurudev said about our Srila Prabhupada, someone asked, what is his form in Gaura Lila? And Gurudev was kind of like, what are you talking about? Isn't it obvious? This is his form in Gaura Lila. Mahaprabhu predicted that his name would be chanted in every town and village, and look at the service that he's doing for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Narottam Das Thakur also came and just missed physically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he didn't miss anything. Mahaprabhu left his praying for Narottam Das Thakur, who preached the message of Mahaprabhu far and wide through the medium of separation. And our Srila Prabhupada did also something like that. So, when our Gurudev is saying, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Preshtaya Bhutale, for his Gurudev, he's also showing the internal and the external. What is the external? Acharya Singharupine, very powerful like a lion. But Gurudev also saw the other side of him. He was like a lion to those who were against the teachings of pure bhakti, against the teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. He was like a lion against Sahajya and Mayavad and Apasiddhant and all kinds of nefarious activities in the name of bhakti. But to those who were taking shelter of him, those who were following the pure principles of bhakti and giving their life's energy in service, he was so soft. Gurudev said specifically about his Gurudev, a lion is one way to anyone who is an offender, but to their own cubs, how soft and sweet and gentle. So Gurudev would glorify his Gurudev like this. How sweet. And I told it the other day, but I'm going to tell it again. Maybe 2-3 days ago. Once a bunch of devotees were sitting around Gurudev just looking at him, really with like so much admiration in their eyes, just looking at him. And Gurudev said, I know what you are thinking. You were thinking that I am so beautiful. And everyone was like, yes. And Gurudev said, you can only think like that because you have not seen how beautiful is my Gurudev. What kind of deep attachment did he have to his Gurudev? Every single time it was his appearance or disappearance festival of Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Gurudev could not speak without becoming choked up and weeping. And I was thinking, our Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj left physically our vision in 1968. Not only that, but Gurudev was a very, very powerful, strong personality. And he was 90 years old. So from an external perspective, a 90-year-old man who used to be a police lieutenant who did not back down to anybody, unless it was a pure devotee, but to any kind of anything. He maintained his standard. When he would speak about his Gurudev, he would weep like a baby, inconsolably. What kind of deep attachment does he have to the lotus feet of his Gurudev? We cannot say. All we know is that his Gurudev is his life and soul. So Gaura Preshtaya Bhutale, very near and dear to Sachinandan Gaura Hari. And I know I've been speaking about Gurudev, but you cannot speak about Gurudev without speaking about his Guru. Srila Gurudev installed our Thakurji, and he named them Radha Vinod Bihari. And his Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, installed all of his Thakurji as Radha Vinod Bihari. And our Gurudev would speak on this subject very frequently. Because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had established Gandharvika Giridhari everywhere with Sachinandan Gaurahari. And Krishna was black, Radhika was white. When our Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj established his Thakurji, his Krishna was white and his Radhika was white. And some began to mock him or criticize. Oh, he got white marble because he couldn't afford black marble, which is a little more expensive. Stuff like that. And our Param Gurudev, from his own heart, manifested the most beautiful Vinod Bihari Tattvāṣṭakam, Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvāṣṭakam. Radha Chintani Veshena Yasya Kantir Vilopita Shri Krishna Charanam Vande Radha Lingita Vigraham. It's the first verse. So beautiful, that meaning. That Krishna, who is deeply absorbed in a mood of separation from Srimati Radhika, completely obsessing on her, in essence, being completely consumed with her, becomes so absorbed that he takes on her complexion. There it says, Radha Alingita Vigraham, who is fully embraced by Srimati Radhika. Our Gurudev explained, completely. The only way I can imagine jumping into a pool of honey. You will be coated completely on all sides. Srimati Radhika has fully embraced Krishna, and he's manifesting that golden complexion. And from that, the form of Krishna, who is completely coated with Radhika's bhavs. Although he is Krishna inside, but he is coated. Nomi Krishna Swarupa, he's Krishna himself. But Radha Bhava, completely coated in the moods of Srimati Radhika. Srila Gaur Govinda Mahārāja explains, by this, because he's experiencing her bhavs, then her complexion manifests. And that is Gaurangi. Therefore, Krishna becomes Gauranga. So our Gurudev would very frequently explain this tattva based on this beautiful manifestation from the heart of our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Before I sing the Guru Bhajan, one more thing I just remembered I wanted to share. When we were in Fiji with our Gurudev, one time he said, you should never take the name of your Gurudev, I'm going to paraphrase, haphazardly, lightly, dismissively. You know when people will be like, just saying his name? Huh? Like Nārāyaṇa Maharaj, like that. He said, if anyone asks you the name of your Gurudev, with as much affection, with as much honor, respect, reverence that you can muster within your heart, you should fold your hands and bow your head and say his name. And then he said the name of his Gurudev. Om Vishnupad Ashtotara Shata Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Like that. And we were impressed when he said it like that. And then later on we met someone and they said, who is your Gurudev? We said, Om Vishnupad Ashtotara Shata Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj. And they were like, whoa. When you say the name of your Guru like that, no one's going to go like that. They realize, I'm not going to mess with this person. The Gurudev said it with such a deep gravity. You could feel, it was so thick, his relationship with his Gurudev. And he wanted us to develop that kind of relationship to him. And that kind of relationship only manifests through holding on tight to his lotus feet, meaning his instructions, his teachings, imbibing those, going deep into them, applying them, and continuing to hold on for dear life. Let me just see, I haven't looked down yet. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody! I remember years ago, it so happened that Valentine's Day fell on, or I guess you can say it the other way around, Advaita Acharya's Day fell on Valentine's Day, because Valentine's Day, according to the solar calendar, is the same every year. But Advaita Acharya's is on the lunar calendar, so that technically the day shifts. And that was one of my first classes that I was giving when I was still practicing how to give classes in the beginning in New Braj, after Gurudev ordered us to travel and preach. And I was thinking, my God, Advaita Acharya, he's like the perfect person. He brought Prem itself, the personification of Radha and Krishna's Prem, their Prem Murti, Sachinandan Gaura Hari. By his incessant calling, he brought him when he did. That's why he came when he did. And he gave him to the whole world. That's the best Valentine's Day gift ever. Pure love and affection, incarnate. So, that's always the best Valentine's Day gift. Let me just check here. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Okay, I'm just seeing if anyone asked, made any comment or correction. Thank you for putting that, Haripriya, about Madan Mohan and Madan Mohan Mohini. Because actually that's the only real love. Real love is when it is for Krishna. Atmendriya pratibhancha taribalekam Krishnendriya prati icha dhare premanam. The desire or the nature of trying to satisfy one's own senses and the senses of others of this world, that is actually known as kam, lust, according to those who have that higher vision. We'll say this is love, but because the nature of every jiva is Krishna Das, and to love and serve Krishna or Bhagavan, then to give that to anyone else, that thing which is meant for Krishna, in one sense, in that higher transcendental sense, it's not considered love. It's considered lust, because it's also full of, you can say, conditionality, reward-seeking activity. I'll do this, and then you do this. If you don't, or if you do something I don't like, then I hate you. So that is known as lust. Krishnendriya priti icha dhare premanam. And the desire to satisfy the transcendental senses of Krishna, this is known as prem. The nature of love or desire in this material world, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, dhyayato vishaya pungsam. While contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment for them. From that attachment comes lust, then of course frustration, anger, delusion, bewilderment of memory, and then all intelligence is lost and one falls again into the material pool. I think the material pool means the blazing, Gurudev said, the ocean of oil that's on fire. So that's called Bhavasagar. Means this cycle of samsara. But Gurudev wants to take us out of that and place us into the transcendental pool of nectar of loving service to Radha and Krishna. I remember once he said, you're all busy trying to enjoy the stool and the sewage of this material world. Come with me. I want to put you in my pool of nectar, but you don't want it. I want to bathe you in nectar, but you don't want it. And one day in Badger, New Braj, Srila Gurudev had said, I think it was some time, he said, I think most are now coming into the stage of Madhyam. And the devotees erupted with happiness. They were like, Haribol! And I was sitting there going, I don't think he's talking about me. And I know he's not talking about a lot of people here. Madhyam is very, very high. And but he said that, maybe it was an encouragement. And then the following year he said, so many devotees were coming to him with so many complaints and how fallen they were and this and that and really shocking things. And Gurudev said, I think you were all like hogs, dogs, camels, and asses. And I was like, yep, he got me pegged right there. That was what I needed to hear, that truth, the groundingness. So now we will chant. Yudhishthir, like Sardu Sangha Yudhishthir. Oh, I hope Isha Thakurani makes him. Well, I don't even need to hope. I'm sure there's going to be an amazing feast. So we'll do happy birthday for Yudhishthir Prabhu later on. Also, as you may have noticed, Sudevi has done the Shringar, the new outfit for Thakurji, Radhavendra Bihari Mahaprabhu. So if you hang out till the end, you'll get close-up darshan. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Kor Edase Trinapeka Yotihi. By Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, page 32. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase Trinape Khayoti No Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase Trinape Khayoti Sakala Sahane Balladiya Koro Nijamane Spriha Hira Sakala Sahane Balladiya Koro Nijamane Spriha Hira Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Trinape Khayoti No Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase Trinape Khayoti No Sakale Soma Korite Shakati Tehonato Jatha Jato Sakale Sama Korite Shakati Dehonato Jatha Jato Tabe to Ganibo Harinamo Sukhe Tabe to Ganibo Harinamo Sukhe Aparadho Habe Hato Aparadho Habe Hato Gurudeva Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase Trinapeksha Yoti No Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase Trinape Khayoti Kabe Heno Kripa Lobhiyaye Jano Kritartha Hoibe Natho Kabe লোভিয়ায়ে জন কৃতার্থ হইবে নাথ। শক্তি বুদ্ধি আমি অতি দীন, শক্তি বুদ্ধি আমি অতি দীন। করো মোরে আত্মসাৎ, করো মোরে আত্মসাৎ। গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে। ঋণপেক্ষায়তি হীন গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে। ঋণপেক্ষায়তি হীন। যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায়, তোমারো করুণা সার। যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায়, তোমারো করুণা সার। করুণা না হইলে কাঁদিও কাঁদিয়া, করুণা না হইলে কাঁদিও কাঁদিয়া। প্রাণ না রাখিব আরো, প্রাণ না রাখিব আরো। গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে। ঋণপেক্ষায়তি হীন। গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে। ঋণপেক্ষায়তি হীন। গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব, জয় গুরুদেব, জয় গুরুদেব, জয় গুরুদেব, জয় গুরুদেব, জয় গুরুদেব, জয় গুরুদেব। জয় প্রভুপাদ, 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 জয় প্রভুপাদ। গুরু পরম্পরা, 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 গুরু পরম্পরা। श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरुपानुग गौरी गुरुवर्ग की जय, श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय। Quick question for all of you. Is there a difference between Guru Parampara and Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga? It's a simple yes or no question. Two votes for no, one vote for yes. Now the question is, why? If somebody's saying no, then why would you say yes? That's the question. This is important to understand. Kabe Shri Chaitanya More Kuri Ben Doya. I know it starts with Sri Chaitanya, but it's all about Vaishnavas. Page 75 in our songbook. If you do not have the songbook, Jiva Pavana Prabhu will be posting it. Very good. Thank you, Anjali. So, in Guru Parampara, there's Krishna, Brahma, Narad, Vyas, Madhva. So many. But Rupa Goswami came after the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had so many associates, including Murari Gupta, Anupam, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Gadadhar Pandit. So many, thousands, millions of associates in all rasas. But the speciality of Rupanuga, Guru Varga, is that they are Anuga of Srila Rupa Goswami. Means they are following in the way of sadhan that Rupa Goswami was doing, and also in the way of Siddha that Rupa Goswami is serving Radha and Krishna. Rupa Manjari is serving Radha and Krishna. And so this is Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga. There's a very particular speciality. Although they are considered to be within Guru Parampara, they're a very special line, and not everyone in our Guru Parampara has this mood of being a maid servant of Srimati Radhika. But our Gurudev emphatically declared again and again and again that those who are Rupanuga, in the truest sense, those who are Rupanuga are serving, like Sri Rupa is serving Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Or they are following in the exact footsteps of those who are following Rupa Goswami or following Rupa Goswami themselves. That is Rupanuga. So Murari Gupta is not following Rupanuga. Madhvacharya is not following Rupa Goswami. Brahma, no, not even in Gaura Lila. He has come as Haridas Thakur, and he's not following Rupa Goswami. So they cannot be considered Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, but they are Guru Parampara. So thank you for that. So Kabe Sri Chaitanya More Kori Vena Doya, page 75. Kabe Sri Chaitanya More Kori Vena Doya, Kabe Yami Pai Bovaish Navapado Chaya. Kabe Sri Chaitanya More Kori Vena Doya, Kabe Yami Pai Bovaish Navapado Chaya. Kabe Yami Chari Boy Vishaya Bhimano, Kabe Vishnu Jane Yami Koribo Samano, Kabe Yami Chari Boy Vishaya Bhimano, Kabe Vishnu Jane Yami Koribo Samano, Garavastra Kritanjali Vaishnavani Kate,
Galavastrakritāñjali Vaishnavani Kate Tante Trino Koridara Ivo Nishkapate Kaliya Kaliya Jana Ivo Dukha Gramo Samsaro Yonayo Hoite Magi Kadiya Kadiya Jana Ivo Dukha Gramo Samsaro Yonano Hoite Magibo Vishramo Shuniya Amaro Dukha Vaishnavotha Krishne ave divena prachura shuniya yamaro dukha vaishnavata kura amalagi Krishne ave divena Vaishnavero Yavedane Krishna Doyamoya Eheno Pamaro Prati Kabino Sadoya Vaishnavero Yavedane Krishna Doyamoya Eheno Pamaro Prati Kabino Sadoya Vinodero Nivedana Vaishnava Charani Kripa Kori Sangelo Eyakinchani Vinodera Nivedana Vaishnava Charani Kripa Kori Sangelo Eyakinchani Kavi Śrī Chaitanya Mare Koribena Doyami Kaveyami Paribo Vaishnava Padochaya Kavi Śrī Chaitanya Mare Koribena Kaveyami Pahibo Vaishnava Padochaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Oh Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro 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 All Vaishnava Thakurs ki Jai. This bhajan that we just sung is very powerful.
it is really showing us the essence of why we need to take shelter of Guru Vaishnava. Because on our own we don't have strength. On our own we can't free ourselves from Maya. By our own sadhana we cannot capture Krishna. Therefore we require a mediary, a medium, by which that can be possible. And that is the pure devotee of Krishna, whom Krishna chooses to share, to give for our benefit. All we need to do is hold on very tightly. And they, seeing our condition, our suffering, pitiful condition in this material world, and our sincerity, our tears. Here Bhaktivedānta Thakur is saying, with great humility and free from duplicity, I will stand before the Vaishnavas. Gurudev would say that Guru knows what's in our heart, but we have to still open it and reveal. From our side, we have to say, look, this is my problem, please help me. Sudevi,
Yes.
can you share about only one? Hare Krishna.
So, Dandavat Pranam, all dear Vaishnavas. So one time we were in the Fiji Islands with our Gurudev, and I was having a very hard time with my sadhana. And, you know, we were living on this big island and I had absolutely no association. Even my husband was on the farm all day because we had a 300-acre farm. And so he was up there with all of the men working for him and I was just alone. And then Srila Gurudev came to the Fiji Islands. So we went into his room and he asked me, how are you? And I said, Srila Gurudev, I'm so weak. My sadhana is so weak. And he said, no, I know you are strong. And I said, no, Gurudev, really, it's very, very weak. And then Srila Gurudev said, oh, I will make one phone call to Vrindavan. There in Vrindavan, Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī has one very big medical shop. And who is the pharmacist there, do you know? Oh, it is Swamiji. It is your Srila Prabhupada. He is the pharmacist. He said, I will make one phone call to him and he will send one big injection for you. And thinking my anarthas to be more than anything, I said, oh Gurudev, I need more than just one injection. And then he looked at me really, gravely. And he said, no, only one is enough. And then that scared me. But what happened was, there did come something in my life that seemed catastrophic, and it was a very difficult time. But what it did was it made me do a 360. 180. Anyway, I'm not good at numbers. We all know this. So anyway, what I did was I dove deep into my sadhana and I just held on tight to Srila Gurudev and to his moods, his conceptions. And what happened was that slowly I started to gain association. People started coming to want to have programs, to want to engage us in the process of bhakti. But really, it was so powerful because a lot of times we think when hardships come that it means, oh, I've done something wrong, I've done something bad, or, oh, you know, it's my karma, this, that. It's very difficult for us to judge what is what. When something bad or any calamity happens, that in itself is the perfect opportunity to turn toward Gurudev and Krishna. And as we've heard Queen Kunti do again and again, telling Krishna, send so many calamities so that you will come and save us. So I saw that big injection, although it seemed like something horrific in my life, it turned out to be the very thing that saved me. And I was able to dive deep into my sadhana, and it revolutionized my entire life, both material and spiritual.
It was the prelude to our current seva, the prelude to us traveling and preaching on the order of Gurudev.
So when Guru gives an injection or any kind of, like we were talking about the other day, that we should try to see that every obstacle, that everything that happens, whether it's considered good or bad by us, but that it is maybe a test or it is some kind of a gift or a jewel by our Gurudev, that he's trying to help us. And once we actually take that and look at it and go through it and continue calling out for mercy and chanting and doing our sadhana, we will look back and see, oh, that was so good for me. I had no idea, but actually that thing was Gurudev's mercy directly in my life.
Right, like that story that you had told from Gurudev of that disciple or that one who wanted to take initiation, and the Guru told that sweeper to throw some dirt on them.
Right.
Again and again and again. And it took years before that person realized, I should not react in an angry or upset way. And then he learned humility, and then he came before his Gurudev and realized that his Gurudev was putting these obstacles in his way. So Gurudev, to teach him, so Gurudev has actually said on different occasions that once one comes to the lotus feet of Gurudev, everything that happens in their life happens for a reason. It's some kind of lesson, something to teach us something. And sometimes it might be because we have so much pride or arrogance, and then that pride or arrogance is smashed. In so many different ways it can happen.
Sometimes we're too independent, and so something comes to where we realize, oh my God, I'm not really in control. I really can't control anything. What to speak of my surroundings and other people, even my own body. I have no control over anything. And then we realize, oh my God, I really am in need of mercy. So many times we can see that whether it's, like I said, so-called bad or good, all of it really is good if we will take it as the mercy of our Guru and Krishna, and we see that they are present in everything in our lives. Because even Krishna says this, Brahma says, Tattenu kampam susamikshamanu, that everything that's coming to me, we can see it in one way that, yes, I have done something, and it's like a debt has come to repay me. I have to repay this debt, whatever it may be. But I will continue to only look toward my Gurudev and Krishna. I will persevere and hold on to their little finger, because my only goal and object is them, no matter what comes. And this, in essence, is nishta. It means I will not give up. I will not become cowed down. My ultimate goal is there, and no matter what obstacles come, my goal is fixed, and I won't let that stop me. But the one thing that I continuously need is mercy. So we continuously have our eyes on that goal, pray for mercy, and instead of trying to jump over obstacles, go through them and see the jewels that are there, placed before us in all of these different forms by our Gurudev, to help us grow, to help us mature, to help us become unattached, to help us to become more surrendered.
Like that one where there was a point in our journey where we were actually debating whether or not we should remain in the Sangha or go far away. And this was early on when Gurudev was still present.
This was like in 2000.
But there was a good reason for it. And Sudevi actually approached. We went to Gurudev and we approached Gurudev. I think, I don't remember, did I ask you or you told me something?
I said that he's our Gurudev. We should at least let him be our Guru. We should get instruction from him. So we went to his room and we revealed everything that was happening. And I couldn't understand really why we were put in this situation. And I actually told Gurudev, I said, you put me in this situation and I don't see the good. I don't see what was good in this. I have no bhajan, I have no sadhana. I can't even pick up my mala. And then Gurudev, he just looked at me. He said, oh, you can also be angry with me, but no poison. And so I didn't know how to feel about this. And I went home, well, not home, to my mother's place. It was in Badger. And
Explain that, what that means.
Well, when there is a relationship, even if it is your Gurudev, sometimes you can become a little bit upset, a little bit angry. But no poison means no malice, no hate, no anger that is infused with any kind of poisonous nature to it or bad thought. Just an anger like, why? I don't understand. Please help me to understand why. So Gurudev said that this is okay. And he has also said that sometimes Guru becomes angry at the disciple. It is a relationship. It can happen. So then I went back to my mother's place in Badger, and I was turned on this music really loud so that I could just wail and scream without anybody hearing me. And while I was doing it, I was just, why Gurudev? I don't understand. And this very deep mood came from my heart, and it was, because I love you so much. I don't want you to waste your time and your energy on the people of this world, because I am your friend. And then it just changed everything. My whole entire being changed. So I was literally crying and begging him to help me. And he allowed me that freedom to feel that anger, like, why? And when I just called out like that, it was like the answer came and everything was solved.
Gurudev, in this connection, also was teaching a lesson that we should not give our attachment here and there. We can have
so many different Vaishnavas, actually.
We can have affection, respect, honor, but attachment, this is something different. And love and affection and all of that, but attachment should be for Guru. Shri Guru Charane Rati, Gauranga and Radha and Krishna. Gurudev told once that they're not giving their attachment to you, they're giving their love and affection to Radha and Krishna. They're giving it to Guru. Why are you giving your attachment here and there? You should have your attachment to Guru.
In this connection, Srila Gurudev said that your love is like a very, very fine flow, like a little tiny passage of water in a hot desert, very hot, dry desert. And he said, and you should see that everywhere you give your love, another sort of break in that stream goes off to the side and the side. And by the time it comes to Guru and Krishna, it's dried up. We are limited. We cannot expand our love to everyone. So, because we are limited, so when we connect our love to the source, to the mercy of Krishna and to Krishna himself, then automatically that love is dispersed properly. It goes into the proper places and everyone is satisfied. But when we try to give our love and our affection individually, inevitably we fail because we can't. Usually, all of our love is more self-centered and introverted, and it's only dependent on what pleases us. But when we connect to Gurudev and to Krishna, then it is automatic that we will have love and honor and respect for all. So Gurudev said to be careful, but when he said one injection is enough, then I realized we should also be very careful what we ask for. So many times we say, Gurudev, give me some special seva. Gurudev, bless me. Gurudev, give me this, give me that. But actually, Gurudev isn't here to give us material things. He's not here to give us pleasure of this world. When we're asking for mercy, then we should understand that that mercy can come in so many different ways. And for us, we may see it as some kind of hardship. But for Guru and Krishna, that's their mercy. Don't be comfortable here. This is not your home. This is not your food. It's not your language. Your language is of love. Your food is of mercy. And your love is meant to be eternally. eternally given to Krishna. So Guru and Krishna, we're singing Gurudev Kripa Karake, Kripa Bindu Diya, but what are we actually praying for? If we have no goal and we're not actually praying for something, then what will we receive? So we have to do everything with a mood and an intention and understand that the pleasures of this world, that is not the mercy of Guru and Krishna. The waking us up that this place is not mine, it's not my pleasure pastime place. You know, when people come to Vrindavan, we hear them say, oh, it's so dirty here, Jamuna's so dirty, and there's too many pigs, it's too loud, there's so much pollution. But this isn't our place of pastimes. It's not ours to enjoy. It's not for us to walk around and think, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful and I can really do bhajan here. We have to come to a place where we can chant and we can do our sadhana and our bhajan in any situation, especially unfavorable situations. If it's always favorable, then at the time of death, how will we be able to hold on with nishtha to the name of Guru and Krishna? When we are going through all our trials and tribulations, and yet we are practicing holding on tight to Sri Guru and Krishna, then this is why Srila Prabhupada said, all of this life is meant to prepare us for that time of death, that we can remember Krishna. So it's very important that we don't give up when the going gets tough. That's actually the mercy is being poured. Hold on tighter, chant louder, remember more. And then we will see that our shraddha, our nishtha, and our patience will begin to grow and begin to become strong. If we give up every time or we don't practice our sadhana, then we will never make any advancement and we will wonder why. And we will inevitably try to blame everyone but ourselves.
Something Sudevi told just before, that when we're calling for mercy, mercy comes as mercy chooses to descend, not according to our desire, but according to mercy's desire. That's what mercy is. It's what they choose to give, right? If you're begging and someone gives you an apple or $10 or a piece of cake, that's up to them. And we don't have a choice. Beggars can't be choosers. So mercy comes as mercy chooses to flow. In that case, there was one devotee, and I've told this before, but many of you may have not heard it. We were in South Africa with our Gurudev, and so many devotees have asked this same thing. You know, well, you guys are lucky, you got a direct order from Gurudev. But we never got a direct order from Gurudev. We just heard the general orders in class. So this devotee was there. He was like, Gurudev, please, I want a direct order from you. Please, He said, as you're doing, it's okay. No, Gurudev. I want a direct order from you. As you're doing, it is okay. Please, Gurudev, please, give me a direct order. I want to do what you want me to. Oh, you want what I want? He said, yes, Gurudev. Gurudev said, okay then. I want you to give up all material attachment. I want you to be like Raghunath Das Goswāmī, doing bhajan 24 hours a day with no material attachment. And the devotee was sitting there shaking like this. And Gurudev started laughing. And he said, as you're doing, it is okay. In other words, be where you are and gradually increase from there.
Actually, when Gurudev told us to travel and preach and to give up our 300-acre farm and our $500,000 in crops that were ready to be pulled in 6 months, it wasn't an easy thing. Most people, you know, if you were told, give up your house, give up everything you have 2 suitcases and walk away from it forever.
And no stability, no income, no anything.
And no knowledge of anything.
And no
we were
home.
just children and we had nothing. Kishori Mohan's mother was like, if you do this, then I will reject you. You have nowhere to come home to. And I disown you.
Right.
I disown you as my son. I mean, he was disowned. He lost his mother. We lost our farm. We lost our home. We lost everything. But we gained everything. But I can tell you, I was up all night crying. I was really frightened. It wasn't an easy thing, but we thought, he is our guru. and we have a chance and an opportunity. We don't have children. We don't have any kind of deep-rooted attachment other than each other. And he's telling us to go together, so then we have to. He actually yelled it at us. But it wasn't it
was like his face in Sudevi's face. I don't want you in Fiji. I want you traveling the world and preaching, like that.
But so many times devotees say, oh, you're so lucky, and it's true. But it wasn't without reservation. It wasn't without fear. It wasn't without wondering what the future would hold. And it wasn't on faith that we did it. It wasn't like we transcendentally went off into preach. But it was on the faith that this will please our Gurudev. And so we did it, and never mind the future. And that wasn't an easy thing. But I can say now that it was obviously the best thing we ever did in our lives. I mean, to follow the order of Gurudev. But it's not easy when Gurudev tells you to give something up, to give it up. Most people can't give up, things for Ekadashi very easily. You can't give up, things for Chaturmasya very easily. When we're told to maybe shave our heads or maybe only wear a certain, whatever it might be, anything that goes against our nature for self-preservation and self-satisfaction is really, really confronting, because it's all we've ever known is to try to have self-preservation, whether it's in any form of life. That's what we know, that we have to depend on ourselves and preserve what we have and protect ourselves. And all of a sudden, you're sitting in front of your own heart, who is the mercy of Krishna, telling you, now I'm responsible for you. Now your duty as my shishya, as my disciple, is to trust me. That's really what Shraddha is. It's trust. I'm going to trust you. You are my person. Until it's absolutely transcendental faith, it's a trust. I believe you, and I have faith that you are what I have heard about. You encapsulate everything that Sri Guru is, even though I don't realize it. You are that person, that there's no doubt about it. So now I will trust you, and I will give my life to you, and you can do what you want with it. And that's on okay, I'm taking this step. It was like, the dark night of the soul, stepping off the cliff, not knowing if your foot was going to, step onto anything afterwards, or you were just going to fly off the edge. And thank goodness Gurudev is holding us all this time, placing us where he wants us to be.
One thing I wanted to share in connection with the revelation that Sudevi just gave, is that after that injection she had received from Gurudev, which kind of acted like an anti-venom, it took some time to get through, and it worked brilliantly. We both were endeavoring very intensely to follow the general instructions of Gurudev. And I'm telling this for a reason. We were waking up very early. We were chanting a lot. We weren't engaging our minds in mundane subject matters. We were focusing according to Gurudev's instructions to the best of our ability. And when we saw Gurudev the next time, he treated us differently. The first thing he said when he saw us, oh, you should use your energy for preaching. Different Vaishnavas, Sudevi Didi, Subal Sakha Prabhu, who's now Pujapad Mahārāja, one after another were grabbing us and pulling us into the corner and telling us Harikatha. And we were like being pulled. And we're like, what's going on? We didn't even realize it. We just made the endeavor to follow the general instructions. By mid-Kartik, that Kartik, Gurudev said, I want you three, myself, Sudevi, Vishaka Didi, to make a team and travel the world and preach my mission. That was 1999. And And then he even said, we said we don't know anything. He said, what you know now, go and preach. Like that. So we had made the individual endeavor to follow the general instructions that he gives to everybody. And then he gave the, you could say, specific or personal instruction. If we don't endeavor to follow any general instruction, why should we expect to get a personal instruction?
I will say it wasn't the minimum. We were chanting 64 rounds. We didn't have electricity, so we would go to sleep when the sun set, and we would wake up around 2:30, 3 in the morning, and begin chanting, and then we would do Mangalarti, then reading Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, doing bhajans, trying to learn them.
Cooking for Thakurji.
We were just really trying to engage. And Gurudev did immediately respond. Also in dreams, also, when we saw him, he was very, very interested. He was watching us, and he was watching what we were doing, and we noticed it. And we realized it was because we were making a very strong endeavor. It wasn't just an external getting the rounds done as quick as possible, but really trying to pray while we were doing it.
And it was over a period of a couple years. Many times Gurudev would ask, you don't want children? And I would say no. He would just go, And then the next time, you don't want children? No. And the next time, you don't want children? No, Gurudev. How is your wife? I said, more than me, she doesn't want them. Gurudev said, call her here immediately. So I called Sudevi. She was just a few houses up the hill. She came running down. She came into Gurudev's room. And then Gurudev basically set up our life. So there was nothing to bind us from doing what he wanted us to do.
I can't say that the desire never entered my heart, especially as I started getting older and my body's changing and I'm screaming for children. But what had happened is, because Gurudev and his Harikatha and our Seva was so much in the forefront, intellectually at least, I was able to talk myself down from that. Because it's even a body thing, your body
biological.
Yes. And my intelligence was saying, no, you listen to your Gurudev, listen. And now I can say, oh, okay.
Because Gurudev just kept saying to us, just give me this one life. In millions of lives, you've had children, you've done everything that there is to be done. Just give me this one. And after this, you can do whatever you like. And so he was kind of tricky like that. And we're like, okay. And so we were delaying. We had planned to have children by 96. And then, Sudevi met Gurudev. There was our plan. And then we're like, he's our guru. Let's spend a little time with him. And then it was like, okay, maybe 98. And then Gurudev decided to send us traveling and preaching in 99. And we had this plan that, okay, our cutoff time is like 30 years old. If there's no children before 30, then no children. And Gurudev just saw the opening. And like an expert thief, a little opening, Gurudev went in there.
But he did say that nourishing the spiritual lives of my children is infinitely more pleasing to me than if you have 1 or 2 children of your own, which may or may not be devotees. And so we have found that we very much feel sort of this kind of mamata to that instruction of Gurudev, that we should always try to nourish the spiritual lives of his children, his grandchildren, or anyone who's attracted to Gurudev and to the path of bhakti. It doesn't matter if they're even attracted to Gurudev, if they're attracted to the path of bhakti, because that automatically we know that Gurudev would inspire and give everything to everyone. It wasn't that they had to be his. As long as they wanted to come to Krishna and to come to the path of bhakti, Gurudev wanted to help in all ways. So we feel very, very grateful.
So when I asked Sudevi to come out, it was because of this bhajan that we just sang. And so she told about Gurudev petitioning Rupa Goswami on her behalf.
that Gurudev said, I will make one phone call. Rupa Goswami has a medical shop, and his chemist is Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja, our Srila Prabhupada, and he will send one big injection. So Gurudev petitioned on her behalf to give that injection for her. Here it is saying, they will appeal to Sri Krishna profusely on my behalf, seeing our condition. And whenever we sing this bhajan, we remember a beautiful example of how Srila Gurudev would do this. And it's very, very powerful. And it goes deeply to the heart. Many years before, Kishori Prabhu. You know Kishori? Very near and dear to Gurudev. So Kishori Prabhu, whenever Gurudev would go to his house, Gurudev would weep and say, I can never repay you. Kishori Prabhu was working day and night in Malaysia, Singapore, selling oil paintings door to door and giving everything practically to Gurudev. Helped him to build Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math, helping him to publish his books, just serving him in every way. And Gurudev felt indebted to him. I cannot repay you. And Gurudev would actually weep and say, I cannot repay you. You've given me everything. Even you were living in a car, your wife sold her own jewelry and everything, and you gave everything to me. I remember when it was 96, after Kartik, Sudevi went back to America and I went to Malaysia to work with Kishori Prabhu. I was going to sell oil paintings. He was selling them, he was supporting his family, but giving so much to Gurudev, and I was going to sell them to make money to set up my life. Anyhow, so at that time, Kishori Prabhu, he was, well, he's tall, dark hair, handsome, very suave, and he was expert at selling oil paintings. He even had a special name. I can't remember what it was at the time. But anyhow, he would sell quite a lot. And then he would take the money. I would watch him. He would divide it in half, put one half in his pocket and say, that's for Gurudev. And then he would go home and show his wife, this is what I made today. And his wife would take that and divide it in half and say, this is for Gurudev. And then basically they would survive off of a quarter of his earnings, and 3/4 was for Gurudev. And so I witnessed this personally. She didn't know that he had already taken half, and in front of him, then she took another half. And so 3/4 of his earnings were going to Gurudev. So really they were very, very surrendered, giving everything to Gurudev. One day, this is before 1996, they went on a private parikrama with Srila Gurudev. It was the taxi driver, Gurudev, Madam Maharaj, that time Naveen Krishna Brahmachari, Kishori Prabhu, Champak Lata. And they went to Gokul, was it Gokul or Nandagaon? Gokul Mahavan. They went to many places, but Gurudev was taking them on parikrama. So they went there. And in front of Thakurji there, Gurudev was weeping and crying so much. Tears were pouring from his eyes. And he was just there praying intensely. And afterward, when they got back in the car, Kishori Prabhu told us, he said, I got up the nerve to ask Gurudev, what were you praying so intensely for that made you weep like that? And Gurudev turned back, as Gurudev was in the front seat, he turned back and looked at him and he said, I was praying to Krishna that in this lifetime you would attain Krishna Prem. In this lifetime you would attain Krishna Prem. That's the petition of the Vaishnava, petitioning profusely on our behalf. That's our hope. When Gurudev says, don't be hopeless, that is the reason why we can't be hopeless. because Gurudev is petitioning, weeping and praying to Krishna on our behalf. And what is our part in it? Just hold his little finger and don't let go. Shunya amara duk, Vaishnava Thakur, amalage Krishna avedibena prachur. Vaishnavira avedane, Krishna doyamai. Hearing the petition of the Vaishnavas, Krishna will be merciful. Eheno pamara prati habena sadoy. And he will become compassionate upon this wicked person. And Gurudev practically showed in his own life how for this one person who was endeavoring to serve him, who was endeavoring to help him, how much feeling of reciprocation and compassion he had toward him, that he was desperately petitioning Krishna profusely on their behalf. And we shouldn't say that this is only for them. If we endeavor to serve Gurudev with our life and soul, he will also feel like that toward us. If we don't give our hearts, if we don't give our energy, then reciprocation may come accordingly. But for those who are giving everything, for those who are endeavoring by the prayer of Sri Guru, this is our everything. That is why Krishna says, those who are the devotees of my devotee, they are my real devotee. If we try to go directly to Krishna, maybe we won't be successful. It's too far away, too abstract. But Krishna is fully captured within the heart of his pure devotee. Tomara hridaya sada Govinda Vishram. Govinda is always residing within the hearts of his pure devotee. Krishna say tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. O Vaishnava Thakur, Krishna is yours. You can give Krishna. It's within your capacity. You have the power to give Krishna. And Krishna is bound, because of the love of that pure devotee, to do what the pure devotee instructs. Especially Radhara Dasira Krishna. Sarvavede Bole. The maidservants of Srimati Radhika, Krishna becomes the property of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. All Vedas, all Shastras are saying. Bhaktivedānta Thakur has exclaimed this. So what is our hope? Our hope, if we endeavor to hold on, if we endeavor to serve, if we endeavor to somehow attract the merciful sidelong glance of such an amazing, beautiful, wonderful, powerful, and connected personality as our Srila Gurudev, then we have so much hope, no reason to not hope, that he will petition profusely on our behalf. We just need to hold on and not let go. So now we will call out again. What time? Oh my God, 6:30. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Same Aura Sampada, page 50. By Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Same Aura Sampada. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Same Aura Sampada. Same Bhajana Pujana. Same Bhajana Pujana. Same Pranodhana. Same se mor jivaner jivano, se mor rasanidhi, se mor vancha siddhi, se mor rasanidhi, se mor vancha siddhi, se mor devotees, se mor devotees, se vrata, se tapa, se mora mantra japa, se vrata, se tapa, se mora mantra japa, se mor dharma kara, se mor dharma kara, anukula habe vidhi, se pade hoibe siddhi, anukula habe vidhi, se pade hoibe siddhi, virakhibo elucidating, virakhibo elucidating, se rupa madhuri rashi, prano kumalayo shashi, se rupa madhuri rashi, prano kumalayo shashi, prapulito bhave nishidine, prapulito bhave nishidine, tuvaya darshanaya hi garane jarano dehi, tuvaya darshanaya hi garane jarano dehi, chirodino tapito jivano, chirodino tapito jivano, chirodino tapito jivano, chirodino tapito jivano, aha prabhu koro doya, deho re pado chaya, Mahaprabhu koro doya, deho re pado chaya, ha ha prabhu koro doya, deho re pado chaya, ha ha prabhu koro doya, deho re pado chaya, narottamo loino sharano, narottamo Rupa Gosvāmī, Prabhu Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Prabhu Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Prabhu Rupa Gosvāmī, Rupa Gosvāmī, Prabhu Rupa Gosvāmī. Prabhu He, Prabhu He, Prabhu He, Prabhu He, Prabhu He, oh Prabhu He, Prabhu He, Prabhu He. Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Shri Sat Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Should we chant Panchatattva mantra before Harinam according to Srila Gurudev? Please explain. Okay, I will get to the question in a minute. This bhajan Sri Rupa Manjaripada, our Gurudev had sung for our Srila Prabhupada, especially at that time just before his departure. 2 bhajans were sung. Srila Gurudev, you can hear in the in the recording, Srila Gurudev says, Shri Rupa Manjaripada Semor Sampada. And you hear Prabhupada, like this. And Gurudev says, Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Semor Sampada. And then he mentions something about Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur, saying that Shri Rupa Manjari Amare Sarvasva is our everything. And Prabhupada says, like this. And then Gurudev tells Sheshaya Prabhu, sing it slowly or gently in his ear so that he can hear. And then you hear very soft, gentle Shri Rupam Anjari Pada, like this. And then after that, Gurudev followed it with Hari Hari Kabe Mor Hoibe Sudina. So it's very, very powerful and beautiful. Srila Gurudev said to us when we were in San Diego at the home of Vinodini's family. Yes, that's where it was. Just making sure we got that right. So we were singing one bhajan, Sarvasva Tomar Charani Sampya Porechi Tomar Ghare. This one saying that you are my master and I am like your dog. And Gurudev said, these bhajans, these Sharanagati bhajans, these moods of surrender can also be sung for Gurudev. Like the one I just mentioned, Sarvasva Tomar. And then he mentioned a few others. Manasa deho geho joki chumor. Now when you say Arpilo tuapale Nanda Kishore, that's for Krishna. But the first form of Krishna in our life is Guru Krishna. So we can also apply these moods of Sharanagati practically here and now to that aspect of Krishna who has manifest in front of us to receive our service and transmit that to Krishna. The other one he mentioned was Atmanivedana Tuapade Kori, and this one, Shri Rupa Manjari Pada Semor Sampada. This kind of mood we should have toward our Gurudev. The lotus feet of my Gurudev, we say Guru Sakhi, Shri Guru Manjari, are my treasure. They are the sole object of my bhajan and worship. Now here, this is Guru Sakhi. Her lotus feet are the wealth of my life. They are the ornament of my life, and indeed the very life of my life. They are the treasure house of rasa, the attainment of my desires, the conclusion of all of the Vedas. Her lotus feet are the goal of my vows and austerities, the object of my recitation of mantras, and the purpose of all of my religious activities. So, to have this mood, first and foremost, exclusively to Shri Guru. And from that, Guru will take that, purify it, qualify it, and offer it up the line of succession to Radha and Krishna. So that actually comes right into the question that was asked by Rudra Prabhu. Should we chant Panchatattva mantra before Harinam, according to Srila Gurudev? Please explain. Of course, before Harinam, we must petition to Sri Nityananda Prabhu and to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what is Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Hare Krishna, Hare is, Gurudev was explaining in this Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam. Hare is the vocative case calling on Hara, or she who steals the heart of Krishna. Hare Krishna is Radha Krishna. Hare Ram is Radha Rama, Radha Raman. For those who are going toward Braj, toward Krishna in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna doesn't mean Radha Krishna and then Hare Ram means Sita Ram. Hare Krishna and Hare Ram all refer to Radha Krishna. How can one approach Mahamantra? So our Gurudev wanted us to approach in the proper sequence. It is called a kram. Starting with Mangalacharan, begging for mercy from all of these divine personalities, then calling on Gurudev, calling on the Vaishnavas, Shiksha Gurus, then calling on here Rupa Goswami, of course, Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then from there we can go to Radha and Krishna. But without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how can we enter Vrindavan? But in Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Gaur Prema Rasarnave Se Tarange Jevarve Se Radha Madhava Antaranga. Diving deep into the ocean of Gaur Prem. Rasarnave, full of ras. One will ascend into the sweet pastimes, into the association of Shri Shri Radha and Madhava in Vrindavan. It is said sometimes you dive into the Ganga and you will arise in Vrindavan, in the association of Radhika and Madhava. But how will one get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Raghunath Das Goswami went to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu sent him home and said, don't be like a mad person. Don't be crazy. Then Raghunath Das Goswami received the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, who placed his 2 lotus feet upon his head. After that, then Raghunath Das Goswami was freed of every thing which was holding him back. And he was able to go to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu didn't keep him. Immediately he placed him under the guidance of Śrī Dāmodara Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami became known as Swaruper Raghu, the Raghunath of Śrī Dāmodara, which is perfectly appropriate because Śrī Dāmodara Goswami is in Krishna Lila. Who is Śrī Dāmodara Goswami? Lalita Saki. And Raghunath Das Goswami is Rati Manjari. So in the group of Lalita Saki, there's Rati Manjari, Rupa Manjari, all Manjaris who are coming in Rupa Anuga. So it was appropriate that Mahaprabhu put him there. And then Raghunath Das Goswami came to Vrindavan under the guidance of Rupa and Sanatana. So this is further showing our hope and aspiration. Like Gurudev said, I want you to be like Raghunath Das Goswami. He is our Prayojan Acharya, the one who teaches us about the perfection of our path, Prayojan. So, should we chant Panchatattva mantra before doing every round of Harinam? Our Gurudev says it is not necessary. No. And the idea that one chants on the what they call the Krishna bead, also, Gurudev didn't want us to even touch that bead. You could chant any shloka in between or even on the way. But for someone who is deeply absorbed in meditating on Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. And so we need to take this into consideration. For someone who is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and they are receiving all of Krishna's transcendental pastimes in a constant flow, Svarasiki Upasana, to then throw something else into the mix could create a little bit of a disruption to their mood. When you throw Lord Nrsingadev into the mix, or the 4 Kumaras, or Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is non-different from Baladev Prabhu. You cannot put him in the mix of Radha and Krishna's pastimes. As Ananga Manjari, yes, but not as Nityananda Prabhu. Where Sachinandan Gaurahari, at least in this form, is the form of their prem. He is their prem murti, the form of their prem. So without Nitai there, he's able to be there next to Radha and Krishna, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada established this tattva. Bhaktivedānta Thakur also. So even in Mayapur, our Srila Prabhupada established Gaur Radha Madhava, the small ones, first. Later on, they made the big Radha Madhava, and then they put the Ashtasakis. But Gaur and Radha Madhava are together on the altar in Mayapur. So, can I please explain the meaning of Radha Raman? Raman means pleasing. So, there are a couple different meanings. From one perspective, you can say that Radhika is always pleasing Raman, and that is true. She is Raman's pleasure potency. But from the Rupanuga perspective, those who are true Rupanugas, they don't want to see that Radhika is running after Krishna. Rather, they want to see the other way around, that Krishna is running after, trying to serve and please Srimati Radhika. Gurudev explains that this is the real deep meaning of Rupanuga. And so, they will see that Radharaman means that person who is always trying to give Raman pleasure to Srimati Radhika. There's so many different meanings. Our Srila Prabhupada explains also in his books, I can't remember the verse exactly, but Ramanyate something, Ramana, that this Ram in Hare Krishna Mahamantra refers to Radha Raman. Depends on the depth of one's mood and the focus that they are moving in. For someone who's more in a general conception, general idea, they'll see Hare as Hari, meaning Krishna. Krishna as Krishna and Ram as Ram. Different forms of Krishna. Others will see Hare Krishna and Hare Ram. Maybe you'll see Ram as Balaram or Nityananda, but it doesn't exactly make sense in the context of that Mahamantra. And then others will see that this Hare Ram means Sita Ram and Hare Krishna means Radha Krishna, but this shows that they don't have yet exclusivity in their focus in bhajan, because they're not ekantik or one-pointed to one particular Ishtadev. And so for a Ram Bhakta, when they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they will be chanting Hare Krishna. This Krishna will mean Ram for them, and Hare Ram will mean also Ram. So Sita Ram. It will be exclusively, if they are really, truly Ram Bhaktas. And for those who are really and truly Radha Krishna Bhaktas, then the entire mantra is referring to Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna is Radha Krishna. Hare Ram is Radha Rama iti Ramaha. You asked Madhava Maharaj and he said no to what? So I was telling about the Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. Gurudev said that we can sing this for Gurudev also. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explains that as one is progressing, they will understand that Sri Guru is non-different in essence, a non-different manifestation or non-different from Sri Rupa. And as they're progressing more, they will see actually that they're non-different manifestation of Srimati Radhika. There's a speciality, but Rupa is the personification of Radhika's beauty. So, Unatojvala Sang Swabhakti Shriyam, the beauty of her moods of love and affection to Krishna is taking a form as Rup, Sri Rupa. And all of our Guru Varga, who are Rupanuga, they will also have similar forms, similar kinds of service, and they will be the personification of any particular bhav. Srila Gurudev explained to Gopanandini Didi what is the meaning of Nayana Mani. Nayana Mani, that's the Manjari name of our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Nayana Mani means the jewel of the eye, or the eyes of. So the personification of the eyes, or the jewel of the eye of Srimati Radhika. Gurudev said that when this Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada came to this world, Srimati Radhika wanted to see the progress of her devotees everywhere. And so she sent this maidservant to help and to bring about a revolution in the, I want to say, Gurudev didn't say to bring about a revolution, I just want to make that clear, but she sent this Nayanamani because she wanted to see the progress of her devotees everywhere. Gurudev said that. Yes, Gurudev said that we should not do that specifically. If you're chanting Hare Krishna, and you're focusing on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and then you throw Panchatattva mantra, Mahamantra into the mix, it can disrupt or disturb the flow. And our Gurudev said the same thing about chanting Narasingha Dev mantra in front of Thakurji at the time of Mangalarti. This is their Nishanta Lila. Means it's the end of night, they're just waking up. And they have to get home before they get caught, so to speak. And at that time, if you call Lord Nrsingadev, if you're worshipping him at that time, that form, because Radha and Krishna, their moods are very tender at that time. And if you throw Nrsingadev into the mix, he's ferocious and frightening. Gurudev said they will run away, they will become afraid. So he was also very concerned for avoiding what we call a rasabhas, an incompatible mixture of rasas. He loved to glorify Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj, but appropriately, at the appropriate times. So sometimes when we would come to the end of any round, or even in between, any inspiration that would come, it might be that you would call out for the mercy of Nitai or Gauranga at any time. It's not mandatory that you come to the end and then you chant Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna and go back the other way. Gurudev said no, it's not. For him it was a constant chain, constant flow of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna as he's serving Shri Harinam Prabhu. Gurudev also didn't like when one would keep all on the same altar, all of the different tattvas. That there should be sections, even for Gaur-Nitai. Gaur-Nitai, they have their sadhaka lila in this realm. But they are not present within Radha and Krishna's leelas, so to speak, although Radha and Krishna's leelas are happening within their heart. But if we understand properly, then Narasimhadev will be in his own tattva, Gaur-Nitai will be in their own tattva, Radha Krishna will be in their own tattva, Jagannath, Subhadra and Baladev will be in their own tattva. And if we mix it all, then Gurudev had many things to say about this actually, but then we can find it very difficult to develop exclusive one-pointedness or to have a goal, because our heart, our mind, our attention is going to so many different aspects. And if we don't have an exclusivity, then we can never attain our goal. And Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, for one whose mind is multi-pointed, who's not one-pointed, they will never attain to any destination. If you know that verse, please post it. For one whose mind is multi-pointed, they will never attain to any destination. So one of our Srila Gurudev's main contributions, main focuses, you can listen to almost any class. He would always say, one-pointed bhakti. That means we need to know what our goal is, particular goal. Only when one has a goal can they develop greed for the goal, and greed is the requirement for the attainment of Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Without that, one cannot attain to Brajabhav. It's impossible. So Gurudev would always encourage us, keep your focus, don't have any other desire even. When we went to Govardhan to do Parikrama, Gurudev would say, don't have any other desire. Giriraj Maharaj will be following behind you. He has this title, Giriraj, Govardhan. Sarva Vishwa Pradata. They say, Sarva Vishwa Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. He can grant all desires, and he will. Because from one perspective, he's not different from Krishna. And Krishna reciprocates with whatever you approach him with. So Gurudev would say, don't have any other desire. He will be walking behind, listening very carefully. You should never ask for anything else other than your goal. One devotee said to Gurudev once, if only I could take birth in India and become a brahmachari in your mutt. And Gurudev smacked them. Gurudev said, have I taught you like this? Did I tell you this? So many are desiring to go and be in the West and do all kinds of other things. This is not the goal. You should keep your mind focused on the goal. What is the goal? If you have your goal, then automatically everything that you do will be favorable for the goal. If you don't have a goal, if you just become a brahmachari in the mutt, then you could very easily end up marrying somebody from the West and go and live your life happily or whatever in any other situation other than bhakti. So that is not our goal or aspiration. Our goal should be fixed. What is our goal? Kripayati yadi radha badita sheshabadha kima paravashishtam. Oh, can't remember because I always sing it. Shyama sundar shikanda shekara smeraha samurli manohara radhikara sikamang kripanidhe swapriya charana kinkaring kuru dasyayate mamarasostu rasostu satyam. And Srila Gurudev wanted us to repeat this within our minds and within our hearts. Maybe we're not there yet, we don't have the qualification, but there is no harm in having it as our goal. And what is that? I only want to be the Palyadasi, the maidservant of Srimati Radhika, in the guidance of Sri Rupa Manjari, in the group of Lalita Sakhi. Very, very specific, because Krishna will try to grant anything else. He's very, very tricky. This is what one should ask for. Gurudev wanted us to be very focused, to have that particular specific prayer. Otherwise, if we mix other things into it, we could be extremely delayed for a very, very, very long time without the attainment of our goal, as we have seen in the history of Gopakumar. Extremely delayed. There is no time that has been given for how long he was trapped in the Brahmajyoti. They didn't mention how long it took. How long he was in Vaikuntha, unable to embrace his Ishtadev. How long he was in Ayodhya, unable to embrace his Ishtadev. How long he was in Dwarka, unable to embrace his Ishtadev. If one moment of separation feels like millions of yugas, imagine millions and trillions of yugas of separation. So Gurudev didn't want us to mess around, to waste any time. Don't pray for anything else. Don't ask for anything else. Only ask for this. Keep your mind focused on the goal. And whatever you do, make sure that that is at the forefront of your activity. The goal must be there. This was like, I would say from 1996 until the year 2000. Pretty much the primary focus of our Gurudev's preaching, to impress upon us that we need to establish our goal first. Then, he said, now we can go back and start to establish the process to attain the goal. And then he started telling about Prahlad Maharaj, Chitraketu Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Udhav Sandesh, so many different, the 24 gurus, so many different subject matters, but he wanted to make sure that we established that goal first. And then from there, everything that you do will have meaning. I'll give you a personal example. I went to university for 4 years. Yes, I did. California State University from the age of 16 until 20. And I never selected a major, that means a goal. So I took lots of classes. I took classes in chemistry, classes in health sciences, classes in mathematics. I took some Spanish. I took some piano, some tennis, some racquetball, some anthropology, sociology. I took lots and lots and lots and lots of classes, and I had a great grade point average. But I never graduated. I don't have any paper to show anything that I have any kind of qualification from university. I went for 4 years, but I had no goal. So what did I do? I just diversified. I just took lots of courses and lots of things. And I've got nothing to show for it in terms of that. Gurudev came near the end of that and pulled us into his Krishna Sansar. The point I'm making is, without a goal, we'll do a lot of work, but we won't get anywhere. When you have a goal, when you know what you're going for, then everything that you take, all of the classes you take, will apply toward that particular goal. All of the activities that we do on the path of bhakti will apply toward that goal, and they will actually increase our enthusiasm for the attainment of that goal. Gurudev wanted us to focus our energy, our minds, our everything. I only want to serve, to love Krishna in Vrindavan. How? By the medium of Srimati Radhika. To serve Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, leaning toward Srimati Radhika. Srila Gurudev explained that you cannot do sadhana without a goal. There's no meaning to the word sadhana without a sadhya. Sadhana means the practices that one undertakes to attain a particular goal. If you don't have a goal, then you don't have sadhana. Guru kripa bina nahi koi sadhana bal. Without the mercy of Guru, one will have no power, no strength, or even knowledge how to move forward on the path of sadhana. Why? Because you won't know where to go, what to do. Now I have to backtrack. When I was 4 years old, I was in nursery school in Los Angeles. And one of the teachers came and asked all of the children there, what do you want to be when you go back to Krishna Loka? All of the young boys were saying, I want to be a cowherd-boy. I want to be like Bhima. I want to be like Hanuman. All of the young girls are like, we want to be gopis. And I was standing there watching everybody. And the youngest girl in the entire nursery school, she must have been 3, she says, I want to be a flower. And at that moment, I thought, she's the only one who understands the concept of, I'm not this body. But that's how we are. We like what we think we are in this body, and then we naturally apply that. So all young mothers, they're thinking, oh, I like baby Krishna, Bal Gopal. And all teenage girls are like, oh, I like Krishna, the master of the gopis. And all young boys, oh, I want to be a cowherd boy. This is superimposing our current, this one temporary current material idea of ourselves onto the transcendental. As an idea, it's okay. But it's still a superimposition. It's not necessarily reality. Sri Guru, who is a Tattvadarshi, Srila Gurudev explains this. He is a Tattvadarshi. He knows Krishna, practically engaged in his or her relationship with Krishna in Vrindavan. Therefore, and he or she also knows themselves. And therefore they have the capacity to see the nature of any other person. Guru can see the nature, the particular intrinsic, eternal, constitutional nature of any jiva. what their service for Krishna will be, what their form will be, what their dress will be like, what their nature will be, even who your family will be. All of that they can see. Gurudev explains, based on what Param Gurudev and Srila Bhaktivedānta Sridhar Mahārāja and all of the senior-most disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and what Bhaktivinoda Thakur and what our Srila Prabhupada and Gaur Govind Maharaj, all of them, Gurudev explained. Just as a gardener can see any seed and know what its potential is, Gurudev can see the nature of our Atma. The gardener will know, oh, it will have this kind of fruit, this kind of leaves, it will grow to such a height, it will be like this and that. He will understand when he sees an orange seed or an apple seed or a strawberry seed or what have you, peach seed. He will know what goes for what and how to nourish each one according to their own individual intrinsic natures. So that goal must be established. But who establishes that? I can't see it. I don't know what's in my Atma on my own. I only know what I see when I look in the mirror, and I think that's me. But that me wasn't even existing, almost 47 years ago. That me was not existing. And after a few years, who knows how long, or who knows, that me that I see in the mirror won't exist. It'll be a different thing. But what is the Atma? Shri Guru sees that. And he directs us toward our goal. And he gives us the necessary sadhana, or the practice, for the attainment of that particular goal. Therefore, without the mercy of Guru Kripa Bina, nahi koi sadhana bal, there will be no potency, no strength or power to be able to move on the path of sadhana, because we won't know what our goal is. Only by taking shelter of Shri Guru. When Guru gives us an indication of that goal, then the practices of bhakti that we do can be known as sadhana. Sadhana bhajan. Gurudev would always ask, how is your sadhana bhajan? He said whenever devotees would come together, they shouldn't ask all kinds of mundane things like, what did you do yesterday? How was the game? Blah, blah, blah. We should ask, how is your sadhana? How is your bhajan? When Dvija Krishna Prabhu saw us the other day, he said, how is your bhajan? Just like that. And we were like, oh, how delightful. Even that one little question reminds us of Gurudev. Just like that. How is your bhajan? And of course, you answer according to the reality. I have no bhajan, I have no sadhana. I'm bereft. But still, we pray for the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas. Panchatattva picture should be put in a separate section from Radha and Krishna. Keep Radha Krishna Tattva. Gaur Hari can be with them because Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. But Radhika will not meet with Krishna in the presence of Baladev Prabhu. He's the elder brother. She will feel shy and she will be distant. So we don't want to superimpose something into their pastime. And this is something quite interesting. Gurudev didn't see them as figures. He saw them as people. And he made everything very practical. This is something I also, wow, thank you for asking that question. Oh, I just want to share something. Nārāyaṇa Ashram, Austria, as I was taking my rickshaw home today, I saw Nārāyaṇa Ashram, Vrindavan. I just wanted to share that with you. I thought you would appreciate that. So, Srila Gurudev, he didn't see them as figures or deities. He sees Krishna as a person. Srimati Radhika as a person that he has relationship with. And therefore he wants to serve them according to their
likes, according to what is pleasing to them. That is called bhakti. Anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhaktir uttama. So Srila Gurudev inspired within us. He told all of his disciples, now it's time to mature a little bit. Of course, we approach Guru first. Without Guru, we cannot worship Krishna. First of all, you approach Guru. And then you see yourself as an assistant to your Guru Sakhi, who is serving Radha and Krishna. So you call your Gurudev by mantra, please come and serve. Do the arti or offer this bhog to Radha and Krishna. But in that process, Srila Gurudev would tell us, you can call them by mantra. And then the way he would tell us, it was so practical and so, I want to use the word human-like. It's Krishna's human-like pastimes. Human-like. What do I mean by this? When you call by your mantras, you're saying, O Radha, O Krishna, please come. Okay, so you have traveled from wherever to here. So, here, let me wash your feet. You can wash your hands and your mouth. When you invite someone, they've been traveling, they wash their hands when they first come to your house. And of course, their feet might have gotten some dust on them or anything like that, so you wash their feet. Then you give them a seat. It's quite practical, right? Here, have a seat. And then you bring them something to eat and something to drink. Oh, but Krishna loves Tulsi more than anything. Oh, I cannot forget that. I want to give you what you love the most. Okay, here's some Tulsi. Like that. So practical. But there are mantras for it. So you can learn the mantra, but behind that mantra is the mood, the bhav. And then when they're finished, then you give them something to wash their mouths and hands with. Then you take that remnants away, and you can see it almost in the flow of that bhajan, Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gaura Hari, Yashomati Agyape Dhanishta Anito Shri Krishna Prasada Radha Bunjay Hoye Prito. And then after all of that, then it goes to the gopis, the manjaris, and then down the parampara line, or Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Nityananda Prabhu, to our Guru Varga, Rupa Goswami, all of the Goswamis to our Guru Varga. And Prasadam is descending mercy. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, Bhakti Pragan Kesha Goswami Maharaj, Bhaktivedānta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, then Bhaktivedānta Bhaman Goswami Maharaj, our Srila Gurudev, like that. And then all Vaishnavas. Just as you would take the Mahaprasad from the altar, you give it to your Gurudev first, and then you'll take after that, right? So it's so practical. Gurudev took these amazingly far out conceptions and made them possible, ours. It's not just that you put your head on the floor and you ring a bell and you chant any random mantra, but there are specific mantras. Please come, wash your hands, wash your feet, wash your mouth, have a seat. Here's something to eat. Here's the tulsi. Okay, you're done now. Here, wash your mouth. Now, take some rest. Here, I'm giving the Mahaprasad down the line. Suddenly, it's not, what am I supposed to do anymore? It's a personal relationship. Gurudev made it so that we could feel some kind of sense of relationship with Radha and Krishna, with Gauranga Mahaprabhu, with Nityananda Prabhu, with our Goswamis, with Rupa Goswami, Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, his Gurudev, and he definitely gave us a much deeper sense of relationship with our Śrīla Prabhupada. Previously, we saw our Śrīla Prabhupada as the cookie man because we were 3, 4, 5, young, and he was giving us cookies. And so, of course, you remember the sweetness and the flavor and the excitement and the jealousy of all of the other devotees that those kids were getting the cookies. And we were going up and getting that. But we were too young to be able to digest any of the philosophy at that time. But still, there was some relationship there. And then Gurudev started adding so much more. Who is he? What did he come to give? Who is he in his relationship with Radha and Krishna and Mahaprabhu? What is his speciality? What is Gauravani Prachar? All of these things. And then telling about his personal, sweet, intimate, bosom-friendly relationship with our Srila Prabhupada. So he gave us more relationship with him than we ever could have imagined. And also with himself. So accessible, so open, so kind, so sweet, so affectionate, and also strong, chastising, so many different facets. Relationship. And he said that we should see him like a worldly bandhu. It means like my friend. That I can open my heart and reveal anything. And he will open his heart and reveal something as well. Whatever's in my heart, probably full of anarthas. What's in his heart? Full of Radha and Krishna. So it's a much better deal for me. I'm opening my heart and it's full of anarthas. And he's like, okay, I got some cleaning to do. He opens his heart and pours forth what is in his heart. That is prem, love and affection for Radha and Krishna. And he wants to give that to us, to share with us. I just wanted to share that because Gurudev made it very practical. He said, okay, you've been doing it like this for so long. You put your head on the floor and you chant a mantra for Krishna. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishna Govindaya Namo Nama. He said for a beginning stage, maybe okay. But now that we're maturing a little bit, some time has elapsed. It's time to chant the proper mantras, to call Krishna and Srimati Radhika to come for arti or for bhog. And so he introduced it, but he made it very, very tangible, very practical, very real. And the process by which it would take place, it's almost like you don't have to think anymore. Oh, when I'm offering arti, which article comes next? Wait, was it the incense first or the fire first? Oh, it's always confusing when it comes to the flowers and the, what do they call that? The handkerchief. Which one comes first? Why? Why would it be? How do I know which one to do first? Oh my God, what if I mess up? And then you start getting all mental about it when you're doing your arti. But when you hear from Gurudev, the practical application of these principles, suddenly you don't have to think about it anymore. It's a flow of relationship, of affection. Sudevi, can you please tell what Srila Gurudev said about what I just mentioned? So I was just mentioning how Srila Gurudev was telling that how he made everything so practical. How when we were offering bhoga to Thakurji, it wasn't just, some random mantras, but actually the mantras calling Krishna to come like that. And also arti. Instead of offering and being like, wait, which article do I do next? I don't know which one. How do I see it in a practical way so that it will flow naturally from the heart and I don't have to mentally try to mathematically figure it out?
So he asked me, after I was initiated and we were still at the Radharaman temple in Placentia, he asked me, oh, so you've been doing arti your whole life? I said, yes, Gurudev. And so he asked me why I told you the other night this. And he said, do you think Krishna would like having fire waved in his face? I said, no. And he said, then why are you doing it? Would you like if I did it to you? And I said, no. Then why are you doing it to Krishna? So then he looked outside and he said, oh, just now Krishna is coming home from grazing the cows. All day he has been out with his sakhas and his cows. And now Mother Yashoda is eagerly waiting. Oh, Krishna is coming, Krishna is coming. So she takes agarbati, she takes incense, and she offers it in the direction that Krishna is coming. Millions of cows and cowherd boys are coming, and the dust is rising, and she's seeing Krishna is coming, Krishna is coming. So she's offering the incense. Then the next thing, Krishna comes and runs into her arms, and she embraces him. But she knows he's been playing all day with his sakhas. Sometimes he has scratches or bite marks on him. So she pulls him back, and she takes one lamp, and Gurudev called it Prem Pradeep, the lamp of love and affection, and begins to circle his whole body. After that, what do we offer? He said, we offer some water. He said, what is she offering? That water is her tears and breast milk is automatically flowing from her melted heart and prem. He said, we offer water, meaning that I'm offering my tears to you. Really, I've given my tears to every other thing in this world, useless things. What I will be weeping about in 5 years will be different. Useless things of this world. And when I look, I have no tears to offer. But in the name of this water, I'm offering my tears to you. And then she takes her own cloth, her own dupatta, and wipes Krishna body down like we take a handkerchief. So then, this is one of the moods of arti, maybe for a beginning practitioner. Then there are the moods of the gopis, which you have to go deeply into.
What did you say? How they do arti?
With just their eyes. But what is their meditation when they're doing chamra seva? What is their meditation when they're doing the peacock fan? All of these things are called sadhana. They're for us to find so that we have some mood, some intention when we're doing our seva. So one day I went into Srila Gurudev's room, Kishori Mohan Prabhu and I did, and I said, oh Gurudev, like a little baby to their parent, I want to do bhajan like you. And Gurudev smiled and he said, oh. He said, then you should know that my mood is that of the gopis, especially towards Srimati Radhika. And then he began to explain to me how to enter into bhajan. But I couldn't grasp it. I didn't understand. I was too young. And Srila Gurudev realized I wasn't really grasping what he was trying to tell me. So then he said, oh, a special concession has been made for ladies. And I said, oh, now he's going to tell me how to do bhajan. He said, just by cooking and cleaning, you can attain the mood of the gopis. What are they doing? They're not out with Krishna all day playing like the cowherd boys. They're not always with Krishna. But they're in their homes and they're sweeping. And what are they doing? Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. And then he said, when you are cooking, everything that you want Krishna to know, everything you want to tell him, your hopes, your fears, your aspirations, everything you want to say, you should put into that cooking. What does Krishna need from us? Nothing. He wants our love, our affection, our bhav, our moods. He said, so everything you want to tell him, when you are cooking, you put there. When you're stirring, when you're putting any ingredients, any spices, they should have a mood. They should have a definition. This is what I am feeling. This is what I want you to taste and know of my heart. And he said, and when you offer it to Thakurji, when you offer it to Krishna, automatically he will taste and he will know every intricacy of your heart. And then he said, oh, and if you are a little angry at Krishna, then you should put some chili. And Krishna will taste, oh, some man is there. She has some anger. So Gurudev was giving a very practical way that in something that I do every day, something I do 3 times a day, I eat, I clean, I do these things. How can I attain the mood of the gopis? Gurudev is saying, as long as my mind is continuously running toward Krishna, and as long as I am offering every mood of my heart, then this is the mood. This is what Krishna wants. You can give him a whole array of beautiful things, but if you don't have any love and affection, what does he need with the ingredients of this world? First and foremost, it all belongs to him anyway. So what are we offering him? We must offer some transformation of what those substances are when we're putting it in front of him. And that transformation comes in the form of the mood in which we offer it, the mood in which we cook it, how we are cleaning, what are we thinking about, how are we dedicating our time and our tears to Guru and Krishna. Once Srila Gurudev said that in this world, our wealth is our time and our tears. Our time, because once it is gone, we cannot take even 1 second back. No matter how much money you have, you can never pay to take 1 second back. So how valuable is our time? And then he said our tears, because we only cry for those things that we are attached to. So if we will use that wealth in this world, then it is gone and lost forever. But if we will use those tears, those attachments in the service of Krishna and cry something for them, then it will add to our spiritual bank account, to Sukriti. Once an example was given that, if I'm feeling separation, then I can think, maybe this is something, maybe it's perverted, a perverted reflection, but it's something like what Srimati Radhika is feeling in separation from Krishna, and I can cry maybe 1 tear for her. And we know that one of our friends who is watching every night, he's having some separation from his children. What is that separation feeling like? I must maybe have one idea, just a semblance, like a smell from another room, smelling incense. What is the separation that Mother Yashoda is feeling from Krishna when he leaves Vrindavan? And in the course of my own separation, maybe I can cry 1 tear for her in her separation. And that will add to my spiritual bank account that I'm trying to remember Krishna in everything. So Gurudev and our Acharya say everything can be used for Krishna, but we have to dovetail it toward him. And even in our own circumstances, he said if we are dry and we have no attachments and no tears, then we're not a candidate for bhakti. But if we have attachments and we are weeping and we are feeling so much heartbreak and so much love and affection in this world, then we are a perfect candidate for bhakti. But we utilize that for Krishna slowly, baby steps. But something should be offered to Krishna. When we are feeling our own desperation, something of that desperation, we can remember Krishna's Leela and maybe cry 1 tear for Krishna's separation from the Brajabasis. And this will help us to mature in our own moods of attachment and love in this world and realize what real love is, what real attachment is, and how to turn that to Krishna.
I wish you could see Sudevi, because she's talking and she's with her eyes closed and moving her arms and like, it's very, I'm like, it's powerful and beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's so essential. Today we were discussing something about if we're talking about these subjects a lot, and we were mentioning about greed. If we keep talking about developing greed, well, that means that our concentration will go to that. And I was thinking, does that mean that we will attain greed if we keep discussing and focusing our hearts and attention on developing greed for Krishna Bhakti Ras?
Well, let me tell you, my first time in Vrindavan, I contemplated and meditated on malaria. And no one else around me got malaria, but I did. And I was just so afraid to catch it that I was thinking of it continuously. And so we become what we meditate on. This is natural. We know this. Even materialists know the secret. And they say what you put out into the universe comes back full-fold. This isn't actually just a material idea. What we are contemplating, we become. This is why we are supposed to become Krishna conscious. It takes a little bit of time when we're chanting, when we're cooking. Try to remember Krishna in his sweet pastimes. And slowly, slowly, instead of this Mayic world being our reality, that will become our reality. Krishna consciousness will be our reality. And this world will be the duties that we have to do. And we will do them hoping we can go back to our real life, which is Krishna and his associates. This is our real life. But now we think that that's our side thing. And if I have time, I'll do it because the real world is calling me. But it's completely opposite. Our real life in real world is not this. It is not this. This is temporary. And it is only for this certain amount of time we are in these bodies that we have these situations. And if our mind is completely engrossed in our material dilemmas and our material suffering, they will increase. They will increase and we will continue them until our next life. But if we try to move slowly toward that real goal in our real life, then we will see that everything will be perfectly placed so that we can endeavor in our path to perfection. We will have the eyes and the intelligence to see it.
I wanted to share how sweet and caring Srila Gurudev is. Sudevi was really sick with malaria. She could barely walk. But Gurudev ordered that she should go to Govardhan and that he would make sure that she would get the necessary treatment. So we arranged and went to Govardhan, but she couldn't walk. She was very weak.
He hired a doctor.
Gurudev hired a doctor to come from Mathura every day to Govardhan to check up on Sudevi.
To help me to walk again.
He would give her medicine and then he would take her out very, very slowly to help to build her energy, to teach her how to walk and feed the monkeys. But Gurudev arranged it personally. And it was so caring, so loving, so affectionate, sweet and accommodating. And he said, you will start getting better, you will feel better, just come to Govardhan and be with us. And so we did, we went there, and sure enough, she started getting better pretty quickly, but not before this happened.
So it was time for Govardhan Anukut Mahamahotsav, and so, meaning Govardhan Puja. And so at that time, we were staying in a place called Modi Bhavan. And it was right across the street from where Gurudev would make the offerings to Giriraj Maharaj.
It's where we did it this last time.
Where we brought all of you when we went there. So I was there and I thought, oh, it's my first time at Govardhan, my first time at the real Govardhan Puja. Like in my childhood, we had Govardhan Puja in the temples and, Halava Hills, and that was Giriraj. We did all of this, but I had never been to Govardhan on Govardhan Puja, and I thought I have to go. So I was still very, very weak. But Gurudev, still at that time, we didn't have pots to put on our heads, but he was putting baskets full of all different kinds of preparations for us to carry to Govardhan. So I thought, oh, I want to do this. I want to get a plate from Gurudev. And this year, there were very few Westerners. It was 1996. There were maybe
50.
There were very few, but there were quite a few Bengali devotees. And I had never really experienced Bengali devotees.
Devotees from Bengal.
Oh, devotees from Bengal. If there's one door to get into, they will all rush the door at once and it will take an hour to get through the door, and everybody will be squished, and there's no way to move out of it except like, taking birth. It's really, really horrific. But they enjoy it, they laugh, they find it to be fun. And of course, from a Western point of view, I'm like, what is this? Form a line. So anyway, I went, and Gurudev was standing outside this gate, and he was taking plates and baskets and putting them on the devotees' heads. So I went to get one, and I got caught up in this mosh pit of devotees from Bengal. And I was trying to hold my ground and stand straight, but all of a sudden, I just felt myself being carried back and forth, back and forth. I was just being thrown, and I couldn't stand, and I gave up.
She was so weak from malaria.
And I just started crying. I was just crying, like, I can't take this, and I gave up. And all of a sudden, I felt this strong grip on my wrist, on my arm, and immediately I pulled away, because that's what you do when something grabs at you. You kind of jerk your hand away. So I tried to pull away, but at that time I was being brought forward, and I felt myself being dragged through this crowd, and everybody was kind of being thrown out of the way. And all of a sudden, this very intensely long arm that reached out into the middle into the middle of all of these beautiful but crazy Bengalis. All of a sudden, I looked up, and I was standing in front of Gurudev, and he had my wrist, my arm in his hand, and he was holding it. And I was completely shocked. It was like, I don't know how he did that and how he was okay.
Because his arm must have reached out. I mean, definitely she was about 7 to 10 feet away from him.
I was so far, and he just reached in and pulled me toward him. And then he just looked at me, and I was just crying, looking up at him, and he said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, ah. And, I was just like, "Yes, Gurudev." And then he just smiled, and he put the basket on my head, and he pushed me behind the gate and shut it. So then I was able to walk around in peace and get in a line, so to speak, to go to Govardhan. But it was so beautiful. It was so sweet and protective. And I couldn't believe how strong he was. And then he took us all to Giriraj Govardhan. He had a kirtan going, and it was just across the street. And he said, "Generally, we don't go on Giriraj like this, but I'm taking you. I'm the one. If you are making any offenses, if you do any wrong, I'm taking it on my head. So be careful. Don't step just anywhere. Be very, very cautious of what you are doing." And then he brought us there, and we did the bathing of Giriraj. Then we did Arti, and then Gurudev began to offer all of the preparations to Giriraj. And as he was standing there, and he was doing mantra over all of the preparations at the entrance of Govardhan, we discussed this before. So he was standing there, and then he turned to us in the middle of his offering. "Everyone state your name, call your name." So everyone started just calling their names. I was calling the names of my family, devotees, non-devotees, anyone I could. I was just screaming out every name I could think of. And we realized that Gurudev wasn't just offering preparations to eat. He was offering all of us to Giriraj Govardhan by mantra, by mood, with love and affection. He was going to the heart of Srimati Radhika and saying, "Look at all of these jewels that I've brought for your seva. This is my offering." It was so powerful, so beautiful. You should probably chant some Harinam.
What's it? Oh my God.
Forgive me for not being in front of the camera. I don't like being in front of the camera.
You know what Gurudev said to one devotee? He was a little bit nervous about speaking. We were in New Braj. The devotee was kind of jittery, and Gurudev wanted him to speak. And he was like, and Gurudev said, "You should just think they're all dry trees. They're all dry trees."
In other words, so you get over your fear of speaking, just think like that. You can speak in front of a bunch of dry trees, no problem. But when there's people there, then we feel judged and like that. And then, so the devotee actually got up, and instead of saying Vanchakalpatarupa, he says, you're all dry trees, you're all dry trees. And then he went on to speak. The Gurudev would give this basic idea just to help us get over the fear. Like when we went to him in 1999, after he told us to travel the world and preach, and we were like, we don't know anything. I was like 25, and we were pretty new kids, you know, and we had our books with us, and he's like, what are you still doing here? And we're like, we're studying so we can travel and preach. And he's like, what you know now, go and preach.
I just want to prove I'm not in my robe. I promise I'm dressed properly today.
I'm too far from the camera, otherwise I could just turn it when she speaks. So he said, what you know now, go and preach. And we're like, I don't really know anything. But anyhow, Gurudev, in that one instruction, taught us something very important. It wasn't about collecting information and then just resharing the information. He wanted us to make it part of us. Make that part of yourself. In essence, like, make it your heart. And then share that. When he wanted to send us to Los Angeles, he didn't want us to run the center, so to speak, but he told us these interesting words. He said, I want you to breathe life into Los Angeles. And I was like, breathe life? I've never heard anyone say anything like that before. And he wanted us to go there and do the preaching and make it happen. He said, whatever you've been doing around the world that's successful, I want you to take that to Los Angeles and do it there. And he used those terms. I want you to breathe life. So then we started really praying, crying, meditating. It was desperate. Like, oh my God, this is a big, big task he's giving to us. And so as I was praying and endeavoring and trying to understand his instruction, I looked up the word in the dictionary, inspiration. And that word, the definition said to breathe life, inspire. Inspire means to breathe life. And I was like, oh. And Gurudev would always say, one who does not have life cannot give life. And then we realized what he meant by what you know now, go and preach. What is inspiring you, share that. What is inspiring you, share that. So one day Gurudev had received a message that, from different sannyasis that our team was quite successful in the preaching. And actually Vishaka Didi was the preacher and Sudevi and I were doing the kirtan. Was it at that time? No, it was much later. Much later. This was in 2008, yeah. 2007, 2008. And so Sudevi just told Gurudev, we don't know anything. All we do is speak about you. And Gurudev immediately got a little shy. First he got grave and he was like, oh, that is why. And then he got really shy. Oh, you're speaking about me. But he said, oh, that is why. All we do is speak about you. Because he's our inspiration. He's our everything. So just in that point, what you know now, go and preach. It doesn't mean that you study something and you go, okay, now I'm going to give that thing. But he wanted us to process it to some degree and then share what is touching our hearts. Whatever is inspirational to us, then we share that. Then that can be a source of inspiration to others. And so, again and again, he would say that, inspire on my behalf. He didn't just want us to preach. In fact, in 2008 at the Navadvip meetings, he said, I don't really like this word so much. Preach. He said, I prefer Yeah, he said, I prefer sharing or inspiring.
Preaching a lot of times sounds like trying to convince someone.
Or just, kind of trying to force something onto someone. But to share something with someone from a point of inspiration is a very different conception. So I remember when he said that, I don't like this word, so I don't like this so much, but to share with inspiration. Actually, that is the original meaning of preach. Prachar means to present one's own achar. Achar means the way one is doing something, their etiquette. So there's Vaishnava Sadachar, that is the Vaishnava etiquette. So Mahaprabhu says, one who has life, they can preach. Only one who is performing the activities, they can do prachar, but their achar must be the one that they are sharing. So we realize we don't have anything. All we have is a little bit of admiration for our Gurudev, that he is our life and soul, so then we can just share about him. And then he said, oh, that's why. So from that perspective, then Gurudev is able to do whatever he likes through any mouth. What is my qualification? I don't have any qualification. But sometimes the father, Sudevi,
You say it?
likes to hear the baby say,
Goo goo gaga.
did you hear that? Gurudev told that to Sudevi.
Well, no, I wanted you to actually, the verse that you say right before class, he is my ability. He is the one who gives that, that a blind man can see, can walk over mountains. How?
So Sudevi is inspiring me to remember this verse that I say every day before class. Not today, but now I'm saying it. Mukam karoti vācālam pangum langayate girim yat kripātamaham vande Śrī Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam. The full verse is Paramananda Madhavam. They say Śrī Gurum Dinatarinam. Mukam karoti vācālam. By the mercy of Guru, Śrī Guru Dinatarinam, by the mercy of Śrī Guru on this fallen person, even the person who has no tongue, means they have no ability to speak, a mute person, can be made to speak lofty poetry. Even someone who is lame, who has no ability to walk, will be able to cross over mountains. Pangum langayate girim, by the mercy of Gurudev. In other words, it is not by my power, my potency or anything. If I enable myself to be utilized as his instrument, as he said, I want you to sit in front of me with any, so that I can use you for kirtan whenever I like. It's not about me. Gurudev said that is the meaning of namaha. When you're chanting your Guru mantras, you're chanting this nama. Not me, not for me, or not by myself, Really it means, Koromore Atmasat, make me yours, O Gurudev. I am yours, Tomara Karuna Sar, your mercy is everything for me. And as our Śrīla Prabhupada said, and we can pray to our Śrīla Prabhupada to develop even one particle of that mood. How he is to his Gurudev and to Krishna. O Lord, I have no qualification, he was saying. I have been given this title, Bhaktivedānta. If you want, you can make this title successful. I am just your most unfortunate, insignificant beggar. I am like a puppet in your hands. Prabhu, nachao, Prabhu, nachao. If you want me to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance. Make me dance, O Lord. Make me dance as you like. That kind of mood. We can pray for that kind of mood. And when one approaches with that kind of mood, then Guru and Krishna can work anything through that personality. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Mahārāja explained that our Srila Prabhupada emptied himself of anything else. He was the embodiment of the instruction of his Gurudev, and Nityananda Shakti moved fully through him. He said he was Shakti Avesh of Nityananda Prabhu. Beautiful.
So on our own, what strength do we have? On our own, what good intelligence do we have? But the mercy of Sri Guru is everything for us. The lotus feet of Sri Guru, they are the only way to attain bhakti. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says, Ado Guru Parashray. And that means, first of all, take shelter of the lotus feet of Guru. And Srila Gurudev said this Guru Tattva is the essence, the most essential aspect of all of our teachings. Why? Because without that, we cannot move one step forward on the path of bhakti, on the path of devotion. So now it's getting late. I'm very happy that Sudevi shared so many beautiful remembrances, and that we were able to again remember the beautiful instructions, the teachings, the mercy, the grace of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. He was and is so strong, yet so soft, so heavy, yet so funny, so amusing, yet so grave. And once he said, if I did not laugh every day, I would die. So he has so many different facets to his persona, to his personality. And each one is beautiful in its own right. And all of his disciples, all of his devotees together, you've seen on that 55 hour and on the other one, and all of the different manifestations from the hearts of so many different disciples of his. There's experiences. How many have received so many different jewels? And really, if you want to understand the heart of Sri Guru, what did Ramanujacharya do? He did not just accept the role of being Acharya, did he? First, even though all of them recognized, you are the one, definitely, who understands the heart, you are the next Acharya. All of the disciples recognized, and they gave him that position. But first, for quite a long time, he stayed with all of these senior disciples of his Guru Maharaj, Yamuna Acharya. He served them, learned from them about his Gurudev, about his teachings, his moods, received all of these beautiful jewels from all of his senior godbrothers. And only after that, then he accepted that service of being Acharya. Ramanuja Sampradaya, of course. So how can we understand the heart of our Gurudev? One, from hearing from all of those who had such beautiful association with him and who received so many jewels. More than that, going deep internally and crying and praying and endeavoring to follow what he wanted us to follow. And by that, mercy will come. Realization can come. Because he is not an absent person. He's not someone who was here until the year 2010 and then left our vision and now he's gone. He's a transcendental personality and he's accessible like our Goswamis. Gurudev said, I call and pray to Rupa Goswami and he reciprocates and I speak to him. This idea is there with angels and saints and like that. We also have this concept within our Gaudiya Vaishnava Rupanuga line. That we call out to our Gurudev, we call out to our Guru Varga, we call out to our Goswamis for help when we're feeling weak. On my own I have no strength. On my own I'm being attacked by so many different dacoits. What are these dacoits? Lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, pride, trepidation, fear, illusion, desperation, sadness, all kinds of the dualities of this material world. And they are attacking us from all sides to such an extent that we can't think of Krishna or chant or do our bhajan or
anything, at such a time we should call out to these very great personalities, pray to them for their mercy, ask them to defeat these enemies, and then place them on the throne of our hearts and take shelter of them. It is possible to connect with them if we are sincere. We pray to Gurudev by mantra every day. Dhyāyaṃ stuvang tasya yasas tri sandhyam. 3 times a day at least. And it should be more than that. Always remembering the mercy of Sri Guru in one's life. And as one is practicing that more and more, then they will see Tang sarva bhutam hridayam munimanatosmi. As Sutta Goswami is saying about Shukadeva Goswami, I see my Gurudev situated within the heart of every living entity. Then we will be able to recognize and see Guru everywhere. Everything should remind us of the mercy and grace of our Gurudev. Everything. Like, what is the beauty in a tree? Do you remember? Srila Gurudev said it is how the wind is blowing through the leaves, how the leaves are moving as the wind is blowing through. So just looking at any tree, when there's a breeze blowing and you see the leaves moving like that, that can be a source of remembering Sri Guru. Something as simple as that, which anyone or everyone should be able to see every day unless you're living in a desert. But everyone should be able to see that almost any time. And from that kind of focus on the lotus feet, meaning the moods, the teachings, the personality, the beauty of Sri Guru, as Srila Gaura Govinda Mahārāja said, Guru is our only asset, our only wealth. From there, when we develop attachment to Sri Guru, appreciation for Sri Guru, love and affection for Sri Guru, then from there, very easily, it will manifest for Radha and Krishna. So now, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobi Hariju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol Hari Bol, Hari Bol. O Gurudev 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 Jai Gurudev 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 Jai Gurudev Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada. Gaur Premanand.
Oh, fix it. It showed it on me.
But now it's going to show you again. There you go. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupānuga Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Pratik Pavana Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinu Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Hari Nama Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Govinda Nama Nirmadhaveti, Govinda Nama Nirmadhaveti, Govinda Nama Nirmadhaveti, Govinda Nama Nirmadhaveti. Bolo Radhe Radhe Rama, Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe Shri Radhe
Lal ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai
Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaur Premanande
Haribo.
Hari Hari Bol.
Can you do Yudhishthir for his
Yes.
birthday?
So today is the appearance day, the birthday of Yudhishthira Prabhu from Sardinia.
Jai Yudhishthir Prabhu.
So we're going to say some birthday blessings for Yudhishthira Prabhu. Happy birthday, Yudhishthira Prabhu! Okay, ready? All together. Repeat after me. Mangalam Bhavatu.
Mangalam Bhavatu.
This is falling on his head from all of us. Oops. Guru Nishta Bhavatu.
Guru Nishta Bhavatu.
Krishna Bhaktir Bhavatu.
Krishna Bhaktir Bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam Bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam Bhavatu.
Srila Gurudev would always tell any devotee on their birthday, may you be happy now in this life, may you be happy into the future, in any future situation, and may you be happy all the way into perfection. May you be victorious in this life, may you be happy, may your Krishna Bhakti always deepen, may your Guru Nishta deepen, and may you become happy forever. Yudhishthira Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you so much for always helping us and for preaching and everything that you do, Yudhishthira Prabhu. You are very, very dear to us and to Srila Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. So thank you always for your good association and for all of the help and all of the inspiration and kindness that you have shown us over all of these years.
And will continue to show us, because as soon as everything is unlocked, we want to come to Italy again.
By the way, everybody, Yudhishthira Prabhu is the husband of Isha Thakurani and the father of...
Yadava.
Okay.
So,
Dandavat Pranam. Oh, wait, you have to say thank you. Sorry.
so I just wanted to say to all of you, thank you very much again for giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings, the beautiful personality, the beautiful instructions of our Srila Gurudev and our Guru Varga. And we also are indebted to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev. He said, even when I'm no longer on this sphere, I want that you continue to travel and preach my mission everywhere and to inspire my devotees on my behalf. So you're giving us this opportunity to endeavor to follow that order, which is our life and soul, so we cannot repay you for that. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam,
Hare
dear
Krishna.
Vaishnavas.
Radhe
Radhe, Radhe.
Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki
Jai.
jai. Satyanandana Gaura Hari
Ki jai.
Chiveriamo Domani.
Jivriamadopo, Radhe
Radhe,
Radhe.
Radhe.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.